Hello everyone, welcome back to Fangblade 24501 on YouTube and on Twitch. This is going to be my first proper idea at a series that isn't just me bullshitting and streaming whatever game I play with my friends. This is going to be the first series I actually came up with myself, wanted to implement myself, and was going to stick with as a creative idea. Now, to explain what this is and why you're looking at some random website, I'm going to go over to Discord for a second so I can show you guys the full display list of what's going on. So over here at my Discord channel, not mine, I should say, the group Discord channel for Chaos United, which is a collection of streamers and YouTubers from my friend group. You can see that we've got a new channel up and running for anyone who's been here for a while. We now have this little section called Novel.AI Viewer Project. So, it's up on screen for anyone who prefers to read at their own speed. I will slowly scroll through this as I explain. And I'll scroll through all this once and then hop over back to the Novel.AI website to physically show you guys what I'm talking about doing. But I'm gonna read through this part first, which is gonna be a little bit boring and dull, and I apologize. But I do kind of need to take the time to explain this properly. It is a slightly complex idea. So, this is the guide for my latest video series and how everything will work. Recently, I've had the idea to use a website called Novel.AI, text adventure styled series, which will rely heavily on viewer/audience interactions to work. The later parts of this guide will explain the limitations of what I can and cannot do using a Novel AI. But for now, I'm going to use this first post here to explain the premise of the idea. So, essentially what will happen is I will post a question in the question poll channel right here on the Chaos United Discord server. That little channel is this one right over here, where my mouse is at right now. In that channel, I will ask you all to make a specific type of thing for me, such as a character, a location, an item, a spell, etc. Everyone's welcome to post to anything they like. Just please avoid making copies of already existing characters so as to avoid any potential copyright issues, since I'll be live streaming most of this and posting this to YouTube. You guys will respond down here in the responses channel. I didn't mark that in the post, but I figured that bit was self-explanatory. You all are very intelligent people. You can figure that part out on your own. Now, please note that I will not add every creation that's posted to the text adventure. Speaking of which, if you guys do not feel like joining the Discord server, that is totally okay. This video will be posted both to Twitch and to YouTube. So unfortunately, you people on Twitch, the only way I'm going to be able to see your responses is if you go to Discord, which is linked in my Twitch channel. I'll show you guys where to find the links to the Discord server at the end of this. But for those of you on YouTube who are watching this, feel free to post down in the chats on YouTube your creation idea. And I will get to them there. Just be aware that because of YouTube's comment thing, you're not going to be able to post your idea as clearly as you would like compared to Discord. Discord lets you make massive posts, so preferably do Discord just for the convenience of your own sake. But if you have a short, simple little idea and you want to post it to YouTube, that's fine. That's acceptable. I will take a post from there too. Now, whenever I ask for you guys to make something, I will not add every idea that's posted and every creation that's posted to the text adventure. I will specifically be looking for the most popular ideas that have sprung up. The way I determine what's popular is that if you guys see a post by somebody else you like in the Discord server, I want you to react using the green checkmark emoji right here in the description to show that you like it and think it deserves to be added in. On YouTube, it's simply just put a like button, click the like button on the individual comment that you think is a great creation idea to be added to the next adventure. I'll then take the 2 or 3 posts that have the most check marks or popularity from YouTube from each poll and add those to the text adventure. I won't be adding all of them, just the 2 or 3 most popular, using that little popularity system I described above. Now, if I think a specific idea is really good or just creative, I may add it anyways, even if there's no votes for it. Just because, well, I can do that. Why not? And do remember that literally everyone is welcome to post a creation idea when I put up the poll asking for a character, item, or etc. So everyone's welcome to post. Once I have enough characters, locations, and other things for the text adventure, I'll set it up to be played and then stream on Twitch as I play through it. As I play through it, I will let all of you guys who join into the live stream make suggestions and ideas for what I should do in the adventure as we're playing it, and I'll try and follow along with whichever ideas get the most traction in this stream chat. If you guys try to be weird about stuff, I'm probably going to ignore you, though. Just a fair warning, I'll get to that full part at the end there for that warning bit. Now, each poll that I make will be up for an entire week. The polls will be posted every Monday once my live stream on Twitch ends. Speaking of live streams, I will be streaming this every Monday night, starting around 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is the time zone I live in. 8 p.m. on Monday is also when the weekly poll for the posted idea will close, as that's when I'll physically be adding in the most popular creations into the text adventure during the live stream. So you guys have from Monday night, probably around midnight, all the way till next Monday at 8 p.m. to create things, to vote on things, and then that's when I'll add everything in is the next Monday on 8 p.m. is how that's going to work. Starting out, this tonight should go up. Hopefully this video will go up around 8 or 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when it'll be posted both to Twitch and to YouTube. I am not live streaming this first video because I figured this was better done as a recording. Since this is the first time and nobody's heard about this yet, they wouldn't know to tune in and do the other stuff. So this is just getting all the explaining out of the way so everyone can get into the swing of things and we can get this going. Now, the next section of the guide channel is explaining the limitations of Novel.AI and what I can actually do in the text adventure game based on how it operates. So let me get this out of the way first. Novel.AI is not a game engine in any way, shape, or form. It was not designed to make games. It cannot make games at all. It's not what's going on here. None of this will ever be turned into an actual text adventure game that you can simply download or play on your own. That's not what I'm doing. With that being said, I will release something known as the lore book, which contains all the creations made for a given text adventure at the end of each video series, because I'm going to be doing this multiple times over. And what the lore book is, to brief over for the hundreds of you that I'm sure have no idea what Novel.AI is, it's essentially a little codex that you can write stuff down in that the AI goes through and reads and goes, oh, hey, you mentioned the name Agatha in the story as you're writing it. I compared that to the lore book and realized Agatha is a female witch. Cool. I will describe her as a female witch and treat her as a female witch. That's kind of what the lore book does. So if I give you guys a copy of the lore book, you can have a copy of all the characters, locations, and items we make, and you can open up your own little story on Novel.AI, which is free, by the way. You don't get much out of it free. All the features are fully available free, but you're not going to get to do a whole lot. I think the story limit cap is maybe 3 pages on the free mode. The max the AI can do in a single story without having to segment it into different chapters is, I think, anywhere from 10 to 12 pages, depending on how you'd read pages by the standard word definition. But that's if you pay for it. I have the paid version, obviously, but the free version lets you do everything. You just are limited to 3 pages worth of words to a story, which is kind of small. It's really short stories, but you can still do it for free. And I'll be posting the lore book for free too. So you can technically do your own short form version of this text adventure the way I'm doing it once I get out the lore books. With that little rant off and done to the side, Novel.AI is essentially a co-author for writing novels by default. The text adventure thing I've been talking about with Novel.AI is like a secondary function for them. They made this with one of the newer models of the AI. The legacy ones didn't really do it that well, but now it's gotten good enough to where people can consistently do it. basically, the text adventure, as I just described, doesn't work like you'd think. It's not the type of text adventure where you got lines to click on. Like I want to go, like you click on the words "go north" and something, and you go north. You still have to essentially write a story for to play the text adventure with Novel.AI. So what it does is the text adventure feature essentially takes all the information you feed into the lore book and then uses that as a guideline rather than as clearly defined rules. So the best way I can describe how the AI acts when you're in text adventure mode is that rather than being a co-author like it is by default, with the text adventure mode, the AI acts more like a dungeon or game master, similar to how that role is used in Dungeons and Dragons. So in Dungeons and Dragons, the dungeon or game master kind of takes the information you players feed to him or her and then spits it back out at you. To give an example straight from the guideline, because it'll just be easier, you tell the AI what to try and what you want to try and do, and then it tells me exactly what happens in the story. Let's say I tell the I open the door. I just give it that simple phrase in the command line for what I want my character to do in the story. It's just, I open the door. The AI sees that text, reads it, it understands it, but rather than just repeating in the story that, the main character opens the door, it'll add its own flair to it to try to make the story seem more alive. And it'll also add some randomness to it as well, trying to fill all the stuff from the lore book into the adventure. So rather than the AI repeating, you open the door, it'll probably say something more complex and random, like along the lines of, moving cautiously, you open the ancient stone door. Once the door is open, you're greeted by the foul sight of several dead goblin corpses. Or it could say something entirely different, like you slam the door open in a burst of rage as the adrenaline from the previous fight still courses through your veins. So it'll, you give it a simple 4-letter command, I open the door, and it'll open the door, but it'll give you a lot more than that. And you don't control what exactly it's going to give you. I mean, you give, like I said with the lore book, you give it a guideline, but it's not going to follow exactly to what you ask it to do, because that's kind of the whole point for how the text adventure works. But yeah, a lot of times the AI's response will not match the information you gave it exactly, just so that it's randomized and it makes it feel like you're not in control of the world. So it still feels like you're playing a game. It's just, instead of pressing buttons on your keyboard to, like, the WASD keys to move and shit in the storybook, instead you're typing out what you want your character to do and it's responding accordingly. The lore book itself also has its own set of limitations, so the lore book does not handle being given game mechanics well in any shape or form. So I can't set up a clearly defined HP or health system or anything similar. I can, however, instead guide the AI into recognizing that a certain character has a high health by feeding it statements something along the lines of this here. Johnny, while small, is incredibly strong and durable. Punches and kicks don't faze him. Similarly, cuts from a sword barely scratch his skin. So if I feed the AI a statement like that, it'll recognize that Johnny is a very strong and durable person, and that most normal types of attacks just don't do anything to him, and if they do, it's not much. So I can guide the AI like that. I can't straight up tell it, hey, Johnny has 300 HP, and this sword does 5 HP of damage, so it would take, I don't know, 100 some hits to kill him? Yeah, no, I can't tell it that. That's just due to how the AI operates, which I will explain briefly at the end of addressing the guide here. So it is possible for me to design characters or items in such a way that they have gimmicks or quirks similar to a functional health pool and other RPG stats. I just can't straight up tell the AI that. I can't straight up tell the AI, this character has 300 health. It won't like that very much, and yeah. Okay. The last bit I'll explain is how you guys should go about describing the ideas you make for the weekly poll. Because if you don't have a certain guideline to this, the AI will get a little bit angry about how it's being fed information, and this won't work the way that we're all going to want it to. So when you're making a character, details, details, details. Details are everything. When you're making a character for Novel.AI or for me to use with the AI, the more information it has to work with, the better. I need to know everything you can throw at me. I need to know. So like their age, their species, their race, their personality, their character description, height, physical traits, backstory, anything at all that you're able or willing to give me. I need, and I need you in large quantities. This is because in order for a character to seem real and to have the fluidity and vibrance of being a real person, the AI has to have to be able to pull from a metric crap ton of information. The characters are like the one exception where it's like having an overflow of information works better for the AI. Even though what I'm going to say later for why I can't make game mechanics work seems to contradict this. It's just the way the AI pulls information from a character perspective seems to be the only one that actually works close enough that more information is better. When making items, spells, equipment, or anything similar to that, you want to make descriptions that are short, sweet, and straight to the point. When making items or spells, you don't want to accidentally confuse the AI by feeding it too much information. Instead, you should just describe what the item looks like and say what it does clearly and as simply as possible. So don't beat around the bush, don't use fancy words, just be like, I made a wand that shoots fireballs. So the wand is a black walnut wand that when you wave in the air shoots out magical balls of fire. The fire is incredibly hot as the sun, and can kill the opponent. Don't go any more detail than that. Just that simple bit of line. I'll probably rephrase it so the AI can read it better, but that general short brief idea is what you need when you're making stuff like that. Lastly, there's locations. Locations are the one part of this where you're going to want a balanced approach. So when you're making a location, you want to give plenty of details. For example, with a room, you'd want to describe everything of interest in the room, like what the walls' colors are, what kind of furniture it has in it. Talk about what paintings are hanging from the walls and all that good stuff. But you also want to keep things simple too. So I'm going to give another example here, and I'm going to give the example of how I would describe a living room. The living room has brown painted walls, a black ceiling, and a red shag carpet floor. In the center of the room, there's a large yellow futon that sits across from an old analog TV. The bookshelves on the left wall are old and battered. The rest of the room has several small nightstands, wooden chairs, and posters scattered across it. So, if you paid attention to what I said, I made the important details about the couch, the bookshelves, the TV, and that kind of stuff, because that's what you'd normally find in a living room. The rest of it still deserves a mention, but shouldn't be given the same level of detail, as they are essentially just background noise for the AI to feed off of. Keep this type of writing in mind when you're creating a location. Now, for those of you posting to Discord, because you'll have the ability to do this much easier than somebody on YouTube, if you need, feel free to post pictures along with your creation messages to give a visual aid on how you think things should look. If nobody votes or creates an idea in response to the question poll of the week, I'll just spin a big wheel on live stream and see what I should make for that specific part. Now, a final note before I stop talking about this and go physically show you guys what we're going to be doing. Novel.AI can and will write the story like it's a sex book. That's one of the reasons a lot of people love Novel.AI, is because it doesn't really have a limit on what you can write. A lot of the other AI websites that do writing are like, oh, you can't do anything gruesome and gory, or oh, you can't do this extreme horror thing, or you can't do this because that's a smut book, and it's like, Novel.AI doesn't care. It'll happily, if pushed ever so slightly in that direction, go off the deep end and go that direction. So as a fair warning, I am not going to do that, primarily because I don't want to get banned for inappropriate content on Twitch or YouTube. Even if it's a text adventure that people still have to read, it'll still get me banned. I plan on mostly letting the AI post as it sees fit, which is why I'm bringing all this up. It's because if the AI decides to push itself into that more extreme category, that's the one time I'm going to stop treating it like it's a game with no saves, and instead I'll backtrack a bit and I'll override manually what the AI said, because I do have the ability to do that, and that's the one instance where I'll do that. In terms of text adventure game, if you guys want to vote for it to be in a romance game, the furthest I'm gonna go is a dating simulator, like the one where the whole end goal is to just make them your girlfriend or boyfriend. That's the furthest I'm gonna go into that category of nonsense. If you guys want for horror games and stuff, I'll go as gory and bloody gruesome as you want, because Twitch and YouTube don't really care on that end too much. I just it's just the romance extreme end I won't go towards because that'll get me banned in a heartbeat. Uh, but yeah, as I briefly mentioned, I plan on mostly letting the AI post as it sees fit and rolling with the punches. So when we get to actually playing through it, unless the AI forces me to avoid getting banned, I'm gonna just roll with whatever it says. And if it decides that our character gets killed off, well, then our character just unfortunately got killed off, and that means that'll be the end of the text adventure series. Unless you guys decide to think it'll be fun to add in a mechanic for resurrection and stuff like that, and then in which case, obviously, we could just do that. But at some point, the text adventure that we make will end, and then we'll start making a new one again and play through it, and that's going to just kind of be the whole idea here. Similarly, I also mentioned this, and it's at the very bottom. If you guys decide to make explicit characters or ideas, I'm going to ignore them and or delete them. If I'm going to do something like that, I would have to stream it on Discord, and I would have to make a whole new server for something like that. Not worrying about that right now, just pointing out that's how that would have to work. This channel is the mostly safe for work one. Cursing and gore are allowed, but nothing else of that extreme. So now I'm going to move on to showing you guys physically how the text adventure thing is going to work, like how it's going to physically be interacting and all that kind of stuff. So you see what this is actually going to be when we get to the fun part of playtesting. So first things first is whenever we start this off, I'm going to have to feed the AI a prompt to launch off of, like this. So that's a nice little prompt that's basic and simple to go off of. Small robot awakens deep in a forest. The clearing lays in allows sunlight to hit his panels, which recharge him, which would be why he woke up. So now I'm going to initiate to the AI that we are the small robot by just doing this. Just simply saying POV, the small robot. And that specifies to the AI, hey, whenever we want to do our interactions, you will treat us as if we are the small robot. So the ways I can interact with the AI are pretty simple. I've only got mainly two methods unless I'm trying to override the AI. If I want to override the AI, I would just type up here like I just did. But that's like the manual entry to launch off of or to override something the AI says. Normally, though, I'm not going to do that. I'm primarily going to work through down here on this little section right here where my mouse is at, and I'm going to either do things or say things. So when I want to do an action, I have to be on the do category with the little run guy, and I'll do something like this, for example. And now it feeds in the rest of the information. Normally with actions, when you say you do something, it'll repeat what you did in its own way to as part of the story prompt. When you are saying things or both doing and saying things in the same line, it'll treat what you say happened as if it already occurred. It really only repeats you whenever you're just doing an action by itself without any kind of communication. When you're talking, that's when it includes your action as part of the talking prompt. So it's like, oh, that's already happened. Now I need to see how the rest of the world reacts. When you tell it you want to just do one thing, it's now showing you how that thing got done. It's kind of weird that it does it that way, but that's just how it works. So now if I wanted to say something, for example, I'd hit the say button and type in, well, I don't know. So it even clarifies, you say, and then it shows what I've said. I don't have to put parentheses around it or anything because the say action, it just interprets everything you type in as words that you're saying. Now, if I want to do both, if I want to both do something and say something, I have to do it like this. And it even adds another action. It's like, oh, you walk back, you look back over to where you woke up as you walk forward. So now I'm gonna that's how the entire text adventure is gonna work. I'm gonna feed whatever you guys vote that we should do, or whatever I want to do, in here in this little text box. Probably not more than a couple sentences, probably 3 or 4 sentences on average, unless something crazy is happening that requires me to say more stuff to the AI. It's probably going to be like 2 or 3 lines, kind of like this here, and then it'll respond accordingly based off of its own ideas and the stuff we feed it in the lore book. So now I'm going to show you how the lore book interacts with the text adventure. Category, you guys don't need to worry about this. It's not important to you. This is just like how I would personally organize a few things in here to make it easier to find them. Like I might put all the villains under one category or all the locations under a different category. And that just helps me organize where certain entries are at so I can find them easier. The important thing for you guys to know about is the entry itself. So down here is an activation key. This basically what this does is whenever you enter the phrase or word put into this little section, for example, the name of a character, Danny, the AI will then recognize that and connect it to the lore book. So it'll be like, oh, you said the name Danny. You must be talking about this guy right here from the lore book that we're making right now. So if I said, for example, tall 18-year-old human, male, he works as a lumberjack deep in the forests. So now that I have a prompt for the AI to work off of, I'll show you how it changes itself to go along with the lore book entries. So, for example, I would now do something like I could do this. Now, see, it doesn't. The AI is very smart. So what it just did is it's like, oh, hey, you're observing this character that just came in. He said his name is Danny. He must be that lumberjack guy. So the AI instantly recognized, well, what does a lumberjack casually look like? Well, in mass media, they're wearing a flannel shirt and leather work pants and boots when they walk around. And so they said that's how he described the lumberjack. I didn't even tell him what Danny wore regularly. I just said he was a lumberjack, and the AI was like, this is what a lumberjack looks like. It's a pretty smart AI compared to a lot of the other stuff going around. Like, you can just give it simple information. It goes, oh shit, you mean this, 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 and this. Cool, I'll add that. You don't even have to put it into the thing. But that's how it'll interact with the lore book. It'll recognize things you guys feed it and be like, oh shit, this means that, and it should probably do this. And that's the general consensus of how this whole thing's going to work. You don't have to worry about any of this over here. That's for me to mess with personally, to just kind of tweak the AI so it spits out nicer looking sentences and stuff like that. I might change that on the fly, because if we set it up one way, I might have to tweak this. All this stuff over here primarily just controls how the AI says certain things, and I'm probably going to tweak that so it can't do anything weird, like make stuff sexual when it should just be kind of chill. Excuse me, when it should be just kind of chill, because the AI can go that route. It can. It's not going to on purpose. It just might be like, if we made a text adventure that was a slice of life or romance, and you put in that, like, hey, these two characters are kissing, there's a randomness function to this AI, so it might decide that goes heavy-handed into the, make-out category and down that line further and further and further if you don't try and stop it and be like, hey, no, it's just a kiss. It's nothing else. It's just that simple. Or it's just a simple hug. You don't need to go down that extreme route. That's the whole reason I would mess with this over here, is just me messing with it to make sure it doesn't do weird stuff like that. Because the AI can do weird stuff. It's built to be able to do anything. But that's the gist of how the lore books works. I'm now going to quickly show you guys how you can get into my Discord channel so that you can properly give responses and stuff like that to post your ideas of what characters, items, locations you think I should make whenever I ask about what we're going to make next. So if you're following me on Twitch and you're listening to this on Twitch, you just, under the thing, go to my little channel here and then go down to About Me, and it'll be the thing that says Join My Official Discord server. It's a server that also has the streaming information for all my buddies in my group that we stream together. But right there in that server, it'll have all the posts and the channels I showed earlier in the video that you can go, do all this stuff for. If you're watching on YouTube, the link to my channel, my Discord channel, will both be in the description of the video and on my YouTube channel homepage. So if you go to the homepage of my YouTube channel right here, you will find a link to my Twitch, actually, and you'll also find a link to this Discord server as well. So wherever way you're watching this from, I have links all over the place to go find my Discord server. It's pretty easy. Just go there and you'll be able to post whatever creation ideas you have that you want to see me add. And that's all there is to it, guys. I'll see you whenever you post stuff or whenever I'm live streaming to spin the wheel, because I'm probably not going to get any people chatting on this immediately, but here's to hoping.